Well, just about everyone knows not to use passwords like password 123456, their pets' names, etc. You think they wouldn't have to be warned about what I am very tactlessly calling one of the stupidest frauds of all times. I entitle it Password Stupidity. Stick around until the end when we do a quick review of what to do and what not to do when selecting a password. Hey guys, I'm Mary Schaeffer, founder of AP Now, the place where we share the latest business intelligence for those of you who work in, manage, or have responsibility for the AP, P2P, and/or payment functions at your organization. So let's dive right in and let me tell you about what I call the real password stupidity. So at most companies, or at many companies anyway, each employee has as their user ID their email address. Okay. And then everybody sets up their own password, and hopefully you change it periodically. Many companies make you do it. You don't have a choice about it. And you also set up a strong password. At the particular company that I'm talking about today, which shall remain nameless, someone there decided that everybody within the accounting function should use the same password. Now, think about this for a minute. You know what everybody's user ID is because you know their email, and everybody's using the same password. So, apparently, one of the accounting managers thought about it also, and he did so to the tune of $8 million. Okay. In effect, this company had no controls, no segregation of duties, no all the other things that you're supposed to have, because he, like everybody else in the department, I might add, knew what everybody's user ID and password was. And they could each go in and do the other's work and also impersonate them and commit whatever fraud they wanted to. So what gets me about this particular fraud, and so many others like it, to be perfectly honest, is why didn't this guy just quit when he had $5 or $6 million? Now, hopefully no one listening to this has the same situation. And if you do, and hopefully you don't, you should immediately go and change all your passwords. In fact, I almost want to say you should stop watching this and go have your department change their passwords. But really, it's a really, really bad situation. And as this company found $8 million later, not a smart move. So we did a little research and we found the worst passwords in 2022 from a security firm called Lockout. Okay, now hopefully, again, none of you are using any of these in descending order, the worst or the most common. And by the way they analyzed this, they figured out how long it would take to break these passwords. And some of these, the answer was seconds. Okay, so number one, 123456. The second worst password, 12345678 QWERTY, QWERTY, of course, top of the keyboard. The word password, at least that wasn't number one, right? And then 12345 and 11111. And then there were some others on the list like 0000, I love you, etc. Okay, these are all, really, really bad passwords. So we have some little tips for you about things that you shouldn't do when you're setting up your password. Hopefully you know all this, but let's just go over it real quickly. Don't use your birthday. Don't use sequential letters or sequential numbers. Don't use names like your spouse's name, your children's name. Don't use words in the dictionary. Now, I just want to digress on that a minute. It used to be they'd tell you pick a word and then maybe replace the vowels with special symbols. So like the word look, L-O-O-K, might be L ampersand ampersand K. When we first started using passwords, that was considered to be a really strong approach. It is not anymore because everybody knows it and they can figure it out. So they tell you don't use words in the dictionary. Don't use your pet's names, your address, family member names. Other words that other people might be able to figure out were associated with you. I used to know a guy, everything he would always say, that dog don't hunt. It made me crazy. But anyway, that's what he would say. And if he used that as a password, people who knew him would be able to get to it. Now, before we get to a few tips on creating a strong password, if you like this episode, please give us a thumbs up. And if you loved it, please subscribe. We produce new content for the channel 3 times a week. Tuesdays and Thursdays are devoted to payment and accounts payable issues like this, fraud, and Saturdays are reserved for Wordle. Okay, so I like to close on a positive note if possible. So here are a few tips for creating a strong password. And again, I'm hoping you know all this, but let's just go over it real quick. Mix letters, numbers, and special signals. have both capital and small letters. Make it long and not easy to go away so that if people get the first, word or two, they can figure out what the rest of it is. And if it is like, let's say you were having rain, rain, go away, you might make it rain, rain, just white. Something like that. Okay. So not easy to break. And don't use the same password over and over again. Sometimes it's really attractive, especially if you have some convoluted thing that's really strong. You figure, okay, we'll use this and it'll work, and it will work. But if you're hacked in one system, then they have it. Password stupidity isn't the only way employees take advantage of their employers. We recently did a synopsis of 5 cases that ended up with the FBI. They are instructive, as you can see just how employees maneuver to defraud their employers. You can watch it now. The link is in the show notes below, and on YouTube, links to it will appear momentarily. As always, we greatly appreciate those thumbs up, those shares, those comments, and subscribes.